So, Tabs, what do you make of Google Stadia?
Sorry, mate. Oh.
He's not impressed.
Welcome to the virtual towers of binary Arcadia, where the games go on long into the night. Today's video is the first part of a series of Hypetrain videos, in which we're going to be discussing a handful of games which are doing the rounds in the games community at the moment and have a bit of a buzz about them. We're not going to go too far ahead, but perhaps games in the coming year. So in today's episode, we're going to be discussing 4 games, starting with Pokemon, Shenmue 3, Cyberpunk 2077 and Death Stranding. So Rich, Pokemon, what do you know?
Yeah, so it looks like Nintendo have decided to breathe new life into the Pokemon series. They've been playing around with Pokemon Go recently, which has been a massive success for them and really accessible to the player. I think although the hardcore Pokemon fans, which I know you're one of them, Tabs, will say it's not really a proper Pokemon, including in that the newly released, or shortly earlier on this year, Pokemon Let's Go on the Switch. This is a fully fledged Pokemon game. Looks like an open world, do you think, Tabs?
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like a pretty vast open world to what we've seen previously. And they, resembling England. People are saying it's like, the UK but turned upside down. You've got, go on.
I've not heard that, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard. It's not quite the same, but if you flip it upside down, it sort of looks like the UK. But yeah, no, I'm really excited about it. It's got that slightly freer camera angle, which I think I was really hoping for, and I was worried they weren't going to take the risk on, but it seems they are. Open world, but from what I can see, there are parts that are fenced off. It looks like there's still somewhat of a linear path to follow, and you can kind of just observe the world as opposed to like a Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild type, go anywhere, explore anywhere.
So are we thinking this is a fully fledged 3D Pokemon world, or do we think this is because although even the Pokemon Let's Go, you could argue is a 3D world, but really it's got a fixed camera. You can't rotate the camera, so potentially it's not a 3D world.
No, I think it's a fully fledged 3D world, so you can move the camera around. But I don't think it's more on rails in as far as I don't think if you see a field, you see a mountain, you can necessarily go and walk all over it. I think you've got a path that you follow, you're fenced in. So that'd be my
So
guess.
you think open world, but linear path through the world. Certain areas you can get to, certain areas you can't. Certainly this is what the Pokemon community have been wanting, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody's been waiting for a bit of a change, a bit of a next step, to see it on a home console. That's what I've been waiting for years for, and there's always a tinge of disappointment when you see, the good old Pokemon Company or Game Freak just take that, hedge their bets, stick to the formula, change a location, tweak a couple of things, and I think we're ready to see a Breath of the Wild style, giant leap in terms of bringing some.
Hopefully we're going back to the original way of capturing Pokemon, where you don't just figuratively lob a ball at them to capture them. You have to fight them, get their health down to a certain amount so that you then can get them.
I really hope so, and they've kind of confirmed that, haven't they? So I think we can say that almost as a certainty. The big thing for me is the battle mechanics, because we saw on the recent trailer that they dropped, it seems to transition a lot quicker, but you can't see them in the wild. So it's still in the grass, and it just transitions really speedily. If that was real time, probably wasn't. So that's still, an unknown, and I'd be excited to see. I personally really like the turn-based mechanics, and I would like to see them inject some kind of pace, and the transition being quite speedy is a good thing. But at the same time, I suppose it would be nice if they refreshed that in some way. Give it a bit more depth, maybe. And there's rumours going around that they're going to be introducing armoured Pokemon.
Ooh, interesting.
some sort of power.
That would be a really cool dynamic to add into there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it could be interesting. I mean, I'm not too sure what that looks like, and it is just a rumour, so pinch of salt territory, but still. But I just really wanted to say there was a hint towards on the recent trailer something about Pokemon and people working together in the locations within this new realm. I forget what they call it now, the Gala region or something like that. But anyway, Pokemon and people working together to help run the cities, almost like it's the industry. And I just feel the way they said it in the video hinted towards something which could be, you know, a new mechanic, if you like, to the series, or at least give a lot more depth. And if you remember, one of the bigger locations had like this steam sort of
I remember
kind of an engineering vibe, like cogs and stuff. And I don't know, that there was a little bit too much of a spotlight on that for it to be nothing. So that's what I'm excited about.
Interesting. Yeah, cool. Fair enough, Tabs. What do you think on the hypometer then, out of 5?
On the old trusty hypometer, for me personally, I'm going to give it a 5. I'm really high hoping and really excited.
I'm going to hedge my bets a bit and I'm going to say a 4. I'm excited about it, but I'd like to see a few more details, yeah.
Right then, so next up we've got Shenmue 3.
Interesting.
Game close to both of our hearts,
yes,
I believe,
definitely.
Rich.
Closer to your heart, because I do believe you invested in the Kickstarter, Tabs.
I did, I funded the baby. So I've got to say, I'm really excited about it. All that fan in me and the fan of the original game playing the Dreamcast game is really excited. However, I was thinking about it more today in preparation for the video, and I am quite scared about this one. If I think about continuity, they're in a really tough spot where Yu Suzuki has got to please fans, the original, but at the same time bring this up to date in line with modern games and make it feel relatively like a modern game. And he's doing that with a number of constraints. One is it's crowdfunded. We don't really know how much funding he's got from actual companies. And from the latest trailer we saw, it doesn't look bad. It's the Unreal Engine. It looks okay, but it doesn't look multi-million-dollar AAA title.
I would say it doesn't look polished. That would be the thing.
No.
And yeah, but it's exciting. It's exciting to see what they do with the series, because it needs to move it on. It can't just be more of the same, I don't think, because both of us have played the Shenmue 1 and 2, which have been re-released on PS4, and they do seem clunky and a little bit, they left a bad taste in the mouth compared to the amazing time we had with them as on the original, and I guess that's just how games have moved on.
I think that's perfect. I think that's what we've got to keep in mind, and what everybody has to keep in mind. We are just really, all we should look forward to with this is the resolution of the story, is the continuation of the story, because that's what we're quite attached to. In terms of it having the same impact that the first one and the second one had at the time in the games industry, you've got to throw that out the window.
Definitely.
Because I think this is going to feel old.
Yeah.
I think this is going to feel like a backward step in many ways.
I think it could feel a bit archaic, in some ways. Potentially, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
not sure.
From what I've seen so far,
I'm not sure how much new lease there is to be put into the game, especially given how it looks from the recent video.
Well, this is it as well. And Yu Suzuki, I don't know. I've not done the research, but how many games has he been involved in since his golden days? What dev team is he working with? What sort of talent has he got on board? I just don't know if he's got that continuity in terms of his own career to really, hit the nail on the head. And we've all seen some of the disasters that crowdfunded games amount to.
Or
they just go all off schedule
or any crowdfunded
fall
game,
flat on the face.
or any crowdfunded project for that matter. I've been burned by a crowdfunding project before. I hope that there's a finished product here, and I hope the finished product does justice to the originals. Whether that is something that's going to blow us away, I'm not convinced, but let's hope so.
Well, but then again, just to end it with a bit of excitement, I'm trying to imagine that whole kind of cultural vibe of Shenmue, the music, the kind of, that martial art aspect and the detective nature of it. I think I think I could still get a lot of joy out of it, even if it is just a continuation of the old games and not really a lot more.
Yeah.
So
fair dues.
Yeah.
What do you think on the hypometer then, Tabs?
Oof. Depends which mind I'm thinking on it with. Let's go for the glass half full impression of what it could be, and let's say 4 out of 5.
See, I'm not convinced on this one. I think this could be a flop city. I'm hyped for it, but I'm going to give it a 3 because I'm concerned.
Right, and moving on. Cyberpunk 2077. What do you know, Joe?
Wow, this looks amazing. This has got to be one of the most beautiful games we've seen so far on this generation.
It's pushing technology like we've never seen an open world game on this level. But, however, that also makes me think, and I think that, you know, it's not just me who's thinking this, I've kind of stolen this from other people, but there is a kind of a thought that this might be bridging between current gen and next gen. So, yeah, people are thinking it could get delayed and it might just straddle PS4, PS5. So.
Oh wow. So do you think there's a possibility that we could get a dumbed down PS4 version and a fully fledged PS5
Very possible.
version?
I mean, from what we've seen so far, it's almost unbelievable. I mean, playing God of War and Resident Evil 2 Remake, my PS4 is nearly on the roof, you know, of its own propulsion.
Exactly,
so,
yeah, and I've seen that
exactly.
myself.
I mean,
yeah, it's interesting.
I think the house will be lifting off with what we've seen so far with that fan on the PS4. So yeah, I'm a bit sceptical about that. I don't know what the build that we've seen this demo is running on. So
I don't think this is an Anthem though. We've all seen the recent stories about that Anthem, amazing looking at E3, and then where it's come out, actually it's nothing like the game that they showed us at E3. You don't think it's down that?
I can't imagine. They've got a really good reputation, I think, haven't they? CD Projekt Red. I think they've got a good reputation for being fan friendly, listen to feedback, straight talking. So I can't imagine they'll go and do something, you know, that will burn their bridges like that. So yeah, in terms of what I'm excited about, I think it's going to be this combination of so many genres. So you've got first-person shooter, you've got there's driving elements in there. It's an open world game. It's an RPG. You know, upgrading your character, leveling them up. There's just so many like overlapping genres in this. The open world is like an open world we have never seen before. So much depth, so much life and character, and specifically the verticality. We've recently played Breath of the Wild, and that's more of this big, expansive, you know, on the horizontal axis. Whereas this looks vertical and sprawling, and you know, just skyscrapers, cities.
So, I mean, this looks like it is going to be a rammed world. There is going to be things everywhere, characters, whether they're non-player characters or whatever. This looks like it is going to be full.
Absolutely, and whether that carries through with the depth we can, you know, you can imagine. So you can literally like follow characters around the city and they'll have conversations and they'll go about their daily tasks, or whether when scrutinised it's going to start to kind of feel a bit more like, you know, you'll see the gears grinding behind the scenes. We'll have to see. But in terms of hype, what we've seen so far, I just can't wait for this. I'm absolutely.
It's a first-person shooter, which I think people who know the channel will know it's not my bag. But graphically, this has blown me away, and the gameplay videos I've seen of it are
you going to give it a go, Rich? If I buy it, I'll lend it you, just to.
I think the trouble is it's one of those. It's not. It's so about my control. You know.
You'll be violently sick, everyone.
Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, on the hypometer tabs, what we're thinking?
5 and then some. This is smashing the hypometer. We're going to need to buy a new one.
Yeah. Agreed. Massively excited for this. I think mainly because it looks a bit different and it looks amazing.
So moving on, last but certainly not least, we've got the Enigma Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima.
That would be a very good way of describing it because, well, what is it?
Yeah, it is a game that we know still next to nothing about. It is a mystery.
Yeah.
It is, you know, just a big muddled pile of tidbits that don't make any sense when you put them side by side. I feel like I need one of those cork boards, a load of pictures and strings like they do on these detective programs, and I still wouldn't have any idea.
Definitely.
But
what can we say about
well,
it?
I think, I mean, there's loads of theories buzzing out there. There's people saying and comparing it to PT, saying it's the same game, some continuation of it, shares ideas. There's some conspiracies and a half involved in that. But I think definitely my kind of guess about some of the themes of the gameplay would be to say it looks multi-dimensional, it looks perhaps interdimensional, and then this guy you play, Norman Reedus, as the main character, he seems to be some sort of interdimensional courier that's like tasked with moving items, cargo, from perhaps one dimension to the next. But then you've got the whole Death Stranding thing, and then that makes you think about, I don't know, has there been some sort of rip or void in time? Has there been sort of cataclysmic event? And again, this is speculated online, this isn't my own original thoughts. But has there been some sort of cataclysmic event that's caused like this rip in the space-time continuum or whatever, and then it's created all these strands, and part of that is the universe we're now living in.
But interestingly about the game, we have seen no combat at all. We've seen quite a number of videos that look like gameplay, but no combat at all.
But however,
we've seen a mission.
Kojima has confirmed that there will be guns, you'll be able to shoot things. I think he suggested there's different ways to play the game, but you can play it like that.
We know that there'll be guns, because I think at the very end of one of the videos, one of these courier type people sort of comes to the edge of a cliff and then gets a weapon out, as if he's going to go down and tackle somebody. So that suggested that there's weapons, but you've confirmed that there definitely will be. But yeah, it's genuinely, there's people out there on Twitter now that have seen the game, specifically the people that gifted the engine to Kojima.
Decima engine.
And they've had like 2 hours through. Yep, they have had 2-hour playthrough. Did I read tabs?
Sounds about right.
And I am ridiculously jealous of those people, just because I want to know what it's about. It looks amazing. I'm enjoying looking at all the videos and trying to understand what the hell it's about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know it's open world, because he's kind of confirmed that as well. It's got this amazingly eclectic cast. You've got Hollywood, you've got actors, you've got like, who's the woman in it? She's like famous, or she was famous years ago for a TV series, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And it's it's absolute madness in many ways. But if anybody can bring all these strands and kind of seemingly crazy elements together, well, it's got to be Hideo Kojima.
Yeah. Oh, undoubtedly.
I mean, the only thing I would say is Konami tethered him, didn't it? With the Metal Gear series, Konami, I think as a company, they tethered him. He was the balloon, and they were, keeping him firmly held to the earth.
Yes.
Now he's untethered, seemingly. He's been given a budget by Sony, and they've just said, "Go nuts, son, we trust you." Is there a chance that it's going to be the balloon flying off into the atmosphere, and who knows?
Yeah. There seems to be a buzzword, lots of people say now, the shackles are off. Let's hope that taking the shackles off, not having that creative, not constraints, because that's wrong, but someone to go, actually, that needs to be reserved a little bit in that sense, not go too grandiose that it's so complex that no one understands.
Well, the elements we've heard about, and I know I mentioned this to you, Rich, and you're intrigued by it, social media. So there was, I can't remember the exact quote, but there's something out there suggesting that there's some sort of element of social media, some collective way you can play and solve this game. Now, I don't know whether that means, for example, Bloodborne was a game I played where you can leave almost a residue of players, and you actually leave little clues throughout the world, like hints towards if a trap's about to fall down, hit you in the face, and you can you get this information. Whether it's something like that, which would be cool, or whether it's something, knowing Kojima it's something even, more revolutionary potentially. I don't know, but that is definitely going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
the one thing you would say, we don't know enough about this game, which is a great shame, but Hideo Kojima is a genius, so we have to have full thoughts that this is going to be.
And you talk about continuity. Well, he's got it, hasn't he? He's made recent modern games that have been brilliant. He's worked with dev teams that he's obviously got existing relationships with, and you know he's got the resource behind him, and he's got this Decima engine, which we know because of Horizon Zero Dawn can do spectacular things.
Yeah,
everything is behind him, and it's just now, it's about his vision coming together.
We also know that one of the biggest game developers and console manufacturers in the world have gone all in with him. And that speaks volumes for me. They must have their utter confidence in him that this is going to be a masterpiece.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? They'd have canned it by now, surely, if it was absolutely disastrous.
Yeah, exactly. And they would have seen stuff. He would have had to tick boxes here, there and everywhere to make sure that he continues funding. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited for this. Probably the most excited about any game currently. So on the hypometer from me, off the scale.
I'm going to give this a multi-dimensional hypometer. So there's there's infinite numbers of hypometers, and they're all 5+, easy, off the scale.
Nice, brilliant. Well, that's another video done.
Yeah, another one for the archives, mate.
Definitely. Step to completed.